to give somebody something in recognition of their service, either in terms of their achievement, in terms of their efforts, in terms of their contribution to what has happened. And the reward can be in the form of a gift. It can be in the form of a prize. It can be in the form of a benefit. And it can be in the form of an advantage. Now, what does it mean to trigger something? Because you see, it's not everybody that can break down a topic and understand what it really stands for. To trigger something is something that ignites, it sparks it up. It's something that makes you to qualify to get that reward. So, put together triggers of reward I describe as the things that we do or omit to do that qualifies us for a gift or a rebuke, for a blessing or a curse, for honor or dishonor. So, it automatically means that reward can be good or bad, depending on what you do. But what I want you to understand is you must definitely qualify for one. Either the good reward or the bad reward. And what are the examples of the good reward? The good reward will bring you praises. It will make men to praise you. It will make people to honor you. It will make people to recognize you and to give you award. You know, it gives you benefits. It gives you an advantage over others. And the bad reward also has its own gifts. It brings you reproach. It brings you shame. It brings you disappointment. It brings you disgrace. And finally, it brings you regret. And when it brings you that regret, I do pray that there is a remedy. So that is why I really appreciate the opportunity to talk on this type of message. Now, the type of reward that you actually qualify for depends on the choices you make in life for yourself. It depends on the choices you make. You know, I want you to understand one thing. Everything we embark upon in this life is a project. And every project that we embark upon has a reward. So, what is a project? Because I may be speaking too big grammar for some people. A project is a task that is set before you, which requires serious effort and time. And the sad thing I found out is that 80% of people do not even know that anything you embark upon is actually a project. A project in which you have to put in your best for you to get the prize, for you to get the reward. And I have been able to identify about 5 or 6 different projects that we daily embark upon in life that we really do not know. So we handle it with levity because we do not even know that it is a project that we are messing up. And we do not even know that those projects, they carry a reward, good or bad. And I have been able to identify 5. Our home is a project. Building our home is a project. Building our marriage, is a project. The way you help your husband, the way you build your husband is a project. The way you raise your children is a project. And the way you set up your business is a project. A lot of people believe that their business is the only project in their hand. You got it wrong. The number 1 project you have is your home. But a lot of people do not know. And another project that we embark on daily in life is how we walk with God. How we walk with God is going to determine how you're going to finish. Another project, hopefully I'll be able to say 1 or 2 things on it, is how we impact lives. So, the best example I can use to describe why people do not position themselves for a reward is this example I can give, which is, supposing Coca-Cola declares that there's going to be, they are doing a promo that gives you a Lexus Jeep, but you have to keep drinking plenty Coke. So as you open the cover, you have to keep checking the cap. They used to do all these things in those days. And then some people become Coke addicts just for that. And some people will just buy a whole crate and open everything. Some people will go to parties, open all the cover. And it is because they are aware. What about the people who are not even aware that the promo is on? They've disqualified themselves from the onset. So, really, the people who had knowledge prepared to win. And the people who had no knowledge were disqualified from the onset. And I think I would describe this particular analysis with 2 different categories of people: the informed and the uninformed. The informed are those who are informed and are doing everything to win the prize. The people that will go to a party, begin to pick the covers, begin to check it until they win. The informed are those who are informed. There's another category of the informed people. There are some people who had that information, but they are just not ready to go to any length to win. So if they manage to drink one, they check it, if they throw it away, doesn't bother them. They are not ready to do all it takes to win. Then the 3rd category of the informed is those who don't know how to go about it. They don't have the wisdom. How to go about winning. When somebody is buying Coke, thinking of, okay, if I go to a party, I can get, somebody is thinking how they can go to source. This one, all he can think of is, if I can just drink like 1 Coke a day, So it means that there are those who do not even know how to go about it. Then the fourth category of the informed people are those who are informed, but they don't even care to win. You know, there are some people that don't just care. Now, and the other side is the completely uninformed. The uninformed are those who do not even know that there is a prize to win. So where am I going? You see, if you are aware from the onset that there is a price attached to raising your children well, you will plan very well how you raise them. If you are aware from the onset that the way you build your marriage will determine whether you're going to be happy in it, whether you are going to be fulfilled in it, whether you're going to get love from it, whether that marriage is going to be a blessing to you or a burden. If you are aware from the onset that there is a price for planning it well, you will do everything you know how to do to get it right. And this is why I want us to understand that in this particular kind of message, we need to really thank Bishop and Pastor Mrs. Uzo for coming up with this wonderful kind of life-changing topic that educates us and enlightens us on the reward that we get from actually laying good foundations if we strive to win. So please, I want you to give a round of applause to to Bishop and Mrs. Pastor Mrs. Now, the foundation of this message, I want to lay it on what Paul the Apostle says in the book of 1 Corinthians 9:24. 1 Corinthians 9:24. It reads, "Do you know that those who run in a race all run, but one receives the prize? Run in such a way that you may obtain it. And everyone who competes for the prize is temperate in all things. Now, they do it to obtain a perishable crown. But we for an imperishable crown. Therefore, I run thus, not with uncertainty. Thus, I fight, not as one who beats the air." Now, what is Paul telling us here? Paul is encouraging us not to run aimlessly. Anything you embark upon, don't do it shabbily. Don't do it aimlessly. You have to run with a goal. Don't run the race of your life, the race of your marriage, the race of how you raise your children. Don't run it as somebody who is just beating the air. You know, the same energy you need to punch somebody if you have an opponent in the boxing ring is the same effort it takes to actually be punching wind. You can be doing that and you still will not get anywhere. So we need to know exactly what we are doing. So I have mentioned 5 different areas, or 6, that I'll be able to cover, which is how you build your marriage. How you build your marriage triggers reward. How you build your marriage triggers reward. That is the number 1 aspect that I want to describe. You know, It is often said that women are homemakers. But the question is, what does the woman need to do to build a good home? What does the woman need to do to build a good home? Now, the first thing I want you to understand is a lot of women do not even know the reason why they are married. If I ask people here, I'm very sorry to say that you will hear people say, I'm married because I became of age and all my friends are getting married, so I have to get married. Some people will tell you they got married because they became pregnant. Some people will tell you they got married because they want to have children. Some will tell you, I got married because I love my husband. I mean, it just tells you that there's nothing wrong in loving your husband. It's just that I discovered that your main assignment, according to the Bible, is not the love. You were sent there for something else. We'll probably be able to come to that one later. So, and because a lot of people do not know why they get married for the wrong reasons, they end up not building a very good foundation for their home. So, and we all find ourselves in marriage not knowing the basic reason why God established that institution called marriage. Even some churches don't even tell them during counseling because they probably don't even know the whole purpose of marriage. So, and for that reason, we end up getting into marriage and it becomes, you know, something that we learn on the job instead of something that you should be prepared for. Some people end up messing it up and they throw it away. It's not working. Meanwhile, marriage was never meant to be a testing ground for anybody. If you knew the real thing that marriage was set up for. Now today, for the benefit of the people who do not know what marriage is all about, in the intention of God, the purpose of marriage is for a woman to go. There are two for a woman. Is for a woman to go and help the man. And to secondly raise godly children for God. Those are the two major assignments marriage is set up for. Please, if anybody told you that this marriage you're going into, you are going there to help this man, and you're going there to raise godly children, would it be difficult for you to know that you should not be dragging some things? It will not be difficult because you already know that this is what marriage is all about. Check your life. From the time you got married, all you did was look after the man, whether you like it or not, and look after the children. So whether you realize it or you don't, that is it. I forgot to write the scripture where it says, it's in Malachi, it says, did God not establish marriage for you to raise godly children? I think it's in Malachi 3. I forgot to write it down. 2:15, why? Yes. So that is your assignment from God. Now, if you want to contend this with me, because I know a lot of people will say, what's wrong with this woman? Who told you marriage is about a man? But I want you to understand, if nobody has told you before you got married, that God established marriage because God saw the shortcoming of a man. He saw that a man cannot exist alone. Have you not seen? One woman will look after a man till he becomes an adult. The mother will hand him over to another woman who calls herself wife, to look after till death do them part. Please, at any point in time, a man cannot do without a woman, either as the mother or the wife. So, please, where does the woman surface in the picture of marriage? I'm not saying that you are not an individual. Yes, you are. You are equal before God in the spiritual things. But before your husband, the Bible says he is your head. The Bible says he is your head. There's no equality in it. If God specifically says one person is head, he didn't say you are the tail, you are the neck. Let him try to do anything without you. It's stiff neck. If you stiffen your neck, the head is not moving. You are there to be his help. You are there to be his support. But that is not today's message, so that I don't digress too much. I want us to look at what the Bible says in Genesis 2:18. It is not good that man should be alone. I will make him a helper comparable to him. And verse 24 also says, therefore shall a man leave his father and mother and be joined to his wife, and they shall become one flesh. So, marriage is a place where a woman goes to serve. And the earlier you acknowledge that you are there actually to serve, the better for the good foundation of the marriage. I'm not saying you are a slave. Don't get it wrong. Do not get it wrong. It is actually knowing that this is what marriage is all about. Because you see, a lot of people that decided to leave their husband because quit their marriage because they felt the man is ill-treating them, is doing this, is doing that. It is because they thought the marriage is all about the man alone. The marriage is not just about the man, it is about the man and the children. I want you to know that that man's wickedness and misdeeds has an expiry date. It comes with age. So enduring in order to make sure that you raise godly children, which is also part of your assignment, is not a waste. It's something that comes eventually with a reward. So, and the minute a woman understands her role as a builder of the home, it becomes easy for her to plan to win the prize. When we first got married, my husband used to say one thing, and it was too common, and I couldn't get it, because I was very, very headstrong. So, and he would say, marriage is not by force. Because I always wanted to do things my own way. I always just wanted to do things my own way. But the day the reality of that marriage is not by force hits me is the day I saw wives submit to your husband. And I saw that let the woman so sees that she respects her husband. Now, I want you to understand one thing. You cannot build any marriage without these two principles. if you are a woman and you do not have that tool of submission and respect, please don't go near marriage. Because you will mess it up. You will become very miserable. You will become very, very unhappy. And at the end of the day, you will now end up bringing children into the world that you cannot stay with and raise. So, it is very, very important for us to understand that this thing called submission and respect is the tool to get the reward that is attached to marriage. Because, look, the man will frustrate you. The man will do all manner of things that will make you feel that, look at this man, he's cheating me and he's actually showing me that he's cheating me. So what then are you going to do? So, if you do not understand how to use the tool of submission to control a man, you see, a lot of women go into marriage saying, I love my husband. It is perfect. I don't expect you to marry anybody that you don't love. But I want you to know that marriage, love is not the real reason to marry a man. Because in a pace of some years, that love, if you do not make use of that tool of submission and respect, you will kill that love. You will use your disrespect and lack of submission to throw that love out of the window. Then the man becomes a terror. How are you going to deal with that? So, I want you to get it right very well and know that this thing called submission and respect, they are the tools that makes the reward to come. And when I realized that this mentality of, individualism, I'm an individual. These children that we are raising now, you better make sure that you start telling them the whole purpose of marriage so that they don't bring you shame. Because I am a woman, I'm entitled to this, I'm that. You better start correcting those children now. I started on my own children since they were like 13. To the extent that my daughter has to say, come, mommy. Why are you raising me up because of a man? Am I not a part? I say, yes, because that is what will end up. That is where you're going to end up. You're going to end up in a man's house. And I have to raise you well so that you don't come back to me. Because I didn't go back to my parents. So whatever is happening all over the world, it must not shake you. So, for that reason, it is very important for us to prepare even our children. And what are the rewards that comes out of building your own wealth? The reward for building a very good marriage is peace. It's not everybody that has peace in marriage. It's not everybody that has happiness in marriage. It is not everybody that has security in marriage. So, when you put in the right tools, you begin to see all those things that are lacking in other people's marriage. It's at your whip and beckon because you know how to manage your marriage well. You prepared for it. It is a task well prepared for. So that is the benefit. That is the reward that you get from building a home that you plan very well for. So it is very important for every woman to realize early in marriage that her duty is as a helper, her duty is to raise godly children. It has nothing to do with just the man. It's not just about the man making you happy. Yes, there are some things that when you put in place, happiness must come whether you want it or not. Because when you create an environment for peace, you enjoy peace. When you create an environment for happiness, you enjoy happiness. It is the environment you create that actually determines the reward you get. Praise God. Now, the second area that triggers reward is standing by your husband. Standing by your husband. You know, this also can trigger reward. The question is, what does a woman need to do to produce a successful man? You know, it is often said, behind every successful man, there is a woman. It automatically means that what differentiates you from every other woman is that success. So the reward of standing by your husband is success. Because when you stand by that man, he has no option. Success is not an option. He has to succeed. So what are the things you need to do as a woman? You must invest your time in that man. Invest your time in him. Pray for him. You know, you need to pray for your husband. Invest your time in him. I always tell women that, you see, the way you treat your husband or the way you carry your husband would actually determine what it will turn out to be. If you treat your husband like a king, he becomes a king. He succeeds. But when you treat your husband like a servant, please don't envy the people whose husband turned out to be a king, because you wanted a servant anyway. So what are you complaining about? Treat your husband like a king, and that king in him. Look, when you kill the morale of a man before he leaves home, he is already a disaster when he goes out. But when you make him feel like he's up to the task, you can do it. Go and face it. Stand with him in prayer. When he comes with all those requests and is one, and don't put up all this attitude. There are times that, you know, my husband would have done some things that I would just feel like I'm just waiting for him to come. And when he comes and I see that, the kind of face that I see, I need to first attend to what is wrong with him. I put aside my feelings. I don't allow that one to take over me. I first of all make sure I get him back to who he is. What exactly is the problem? Sometimes I may not even discuss those things that are bothering me for days, because I feel what bothers him should bother me. So you have to live a life of sacrifice to be able to bring out success in a man. If you're not ready to sacrifice, it will be very tough for that man to succeed. You know? And I always tell people that marriage is a man's journey. A lot of people go into marriage having an ideal man in their mind. They have what a husband should actually be like, what he should be doing. Please, I beg you, take your man the way you find him. Because the greatest killer of marriage is for you to be looking for your ideal man in that man, because you will never find it. But what you can take this man and transform him to your ideal man. And when you finish doing that, the man is all yours. And you made him, you customized him. You customize your man. Don't look for an ideal man in any man, because you will not find. That is why a lot of people run into marriage. No. I can't even believe this man is a total disaster. He's not who I thought he is. Make him what you want him to be. So, this is very, very important. And one more thing I want to mention on the issue of building your man is marriage is a man's journey. It is the man God called out. Say, leave your father and your mother and embark on this journey called marriage. I want you to see yourself as somebody that the man called to accompany him on the journey. So if a man says, accompany me on this journey, because I want you to keep me company, make me happy, be hailing me so that I'll be encouraged to go on. As the man sits in the driver's seat, when he's falling asleep, you're trying to chat him up so that he does not fall asleep. When the man is getting tired, you're helping him to mop his face. When he's sweating, that is what marriage is. It is the journey of the man. He is in the driver's seat. You are in the passenger seat. But I want you to know, I can sit in the passenger seat and be telling my husband, let's pass this route. He's walking. It's my brain we are using. He always tells me, we always end up doing it your way anyway. I know. But I never try to push my way forward. I don't. I let him express himself. There are sometimes there is a serious, contention on this is what I want. I don't use force. There are some men that force does not work with. Don't waste your time. You will break your own marriage. Force does not work for anything. It's not necessary. God did not call you into a ministry of force. He called you into a ministry of submission and respect. So, but I know that when I want something done and my husband says, no, this is what I want, I don't bother. I don't waste my time arguing. I just go and settle it with God. It means I'll first of all tell God, God, sorry, I'm very sorry that I didn't even run it by you. I thought he would just accept like that. But now that he does not want to accept, God, this is what I want. See the way he wants us to go. It's either you raise people to show him, because I can see farther than what he can see. It's either you raise people to tell him that there's no way there, or make him to begin to experience the things that will make him to turn back before it becomes too late. And we always end up doing it my way. So I want you to also understand that another tool that can help you to build a man is patience. You cannot build a man without having patience. They will try your patience. There is something that works in a marriage where the devil has decided that I want to destroy this marriage. It is called long suffering. You need that too. If the people who divorced had that tool called long suffering, they will not be out of marriage. What is long suffering? Long suffering is when you endure deliberate act of wickedness from a man. And you continue to play your role as if that man is playing his role as a husband. living God to touch him. Long suffering is enduring an unpleasant treatment for a long time. It is an advanced level of patience. You know, any woman who is able to make use of this truth, it is because they know what is at stake. You will not endure rubbish if you don't know what is at stake. It means you know, you have calculated what will befall my children. Some people will even think, after all, I took my children away from him, and I'm raising my children myself, so I didn't leave them behind. Congratulations. I want you to know that those children, you deprive them of the love of a father. And that will eventually affect them in one way or the other. I know a couple that I asked, I say, auntie, I just love the way your children, all your children are getting married, and she said, we have one rule. They can bring anybody, but not anybody from a broken home. I went home, sat down, thought very deeply. I say I will adopt it. Why? Because any child that was raised in a home where the two couples still remain, as at the time they were married, that marriage must have been tested. They decided to stay. That child was also witnessing it. She saw what her mother passed through, and she stayed there. Please, a woman who did not stay when the slightest problem came, what has she told the child? Don't take rubbish. Because I did not take rubbish. There are times my daughter will say, Mommy, all this rubbish you're taking, I say, thank you very much. I used to be like you when I was your age. I used to be like you when I was your age. But the Bible has taught me, looking unto Jesus, the author and finisher of my faith. If God says no divorce, he must give you everything you need to stay in that marriage. Patience, long suffering, every tool that you need to put is the one that created even that man. The heart of king is in itself. The problem with such women is they do not know the power of prayer. Prayer is the last thing on their mind. They want to fix it with their human reason. They want to fix it with the level to which they understand it. And once they tried everything and it's not working, that's it. It's just, I will hear people say, I interviewed a lady who came, to my company as a copper. And part of the things I normally would ask is, where are you? Where do you live? Do you live with your parents? Said, they are separated. I said, you mean they don't live together? He said, because it's not working. Now, for a lady that was told that it's not working, she already believes that it is right to live when it is not working. Who made marriage a testing ground for you? Marriage is never a testing ground. It is you that thought if it works, fine. No, marriage is not for everybody. It is for people who want to play it by the rule. What is the rule and game of marriage? Only 3 things. Love from the man, respect, and submission. When you put these 3 things to play, come back and tell me that marriage failed. I will ask you which side of Bible you are reading from. Because I don't believe any woman will submit and respect the husband, and it will not qualify her for love. But you know what? Women want it to go the other way. They want the love before the submission and respect. You got it wrong. You said you loved him. That was why you went into the marriage. That's why I told you, nobody sent you into marriage to go and love. Marriage is for you to go and submit and respect. So if you cannot do that, you were not even supposed to be married in the first place. I tell my children, I say, look, what they go to do in marriage, don't let anybody fool you. It is submission and respect. Get it right from the onset. Everything it takes to submit and respect that man, you better make sure that you learn it here. Because you're going to need that too. For you to get that love. That is what qualifies you for that love. So, what are the prices that awaits us when we invest in our husband? The first prize you get is the man becomes successful because he can focus. He can count on you anytime. He knows that you have his back covered. And the reward is, me, I always say, the reward, the first reward is you spend both his money and your money. I tell my husband, my money is my money. Your money is our money. Why? You have to account for how you spend it. You cannot just spend it. But my money, you don't ask me how I spend it. Yes. Because I worked for you to be able to make it. And you are the one that invited me. That come. So, you must have me well taken care of. Praise God. So, and I see some women lay foundation of, don't get me wrong, there is nothing wrong in helping your husband. If your husband falls out, is out of job, lost his job, and things become tough, you are his wife. You are supposed to be his shock absorber. You are supposed to be his helper. At that point, you must take up that responsibility and be his help. But what I will not advise you to do is for you to let the man assume that it is your role to take complete responsibility of him and the children. And he now uses it as a platform to be saying, this job, I don't like it. That one, I can't do it. This one, please, when are you going to get reward? When will you get reward? You are not laying foundation for reward. You only lay foundation for reward when you work on the man. And the man is making the kind of money that you yourself can confidently say that, yes, God, you are faithful. So, it is very, very important for us to lay a very good foundation. Things don't just happen. It is the foundation that you lay that will actually make the man to be successful, for you to now spend his money, because you must be the first beneficiary of everything. Yes. The second prize or reward that a woman gets for building a husband is the man sees you as all that makes life worth living. When it will get to a stage that when the man flashes back and sees all the things you have endured, all the things that you have done for him to be where he is, he sees you as his hero. gives his all to you because he has come to trust you. You know, trust comes with it. And the last thing is when the last reward that you get from that man is he puts you in control. He puts you in control. Don't seize control. Don't hijack power. Let him abandon power in your hand. Walk up to that level where he abandons power in your hand because you have been tried and tested. He has tried you and tested you, and he has seen that you are a friend indeed, and you are the bone of his bone. So that is the reward that comes from building your husband. Now, raising godly children and the reward it triggers. Raising godly children. You know, we mentioned that the second duty of a woman is in marriage is to raise godly children. How well are you doing this task? Now, if you check the book of Proverbs, you will see that if you plan to reap fruit on your children, you better raise them very well. You better raise them very well. And what I discovered is a lot of people do not know that what we take and what we do not take is actually building those children. It's building their future. What you allow and what you disallow is going to determine how your children will turn out. So you better make sure that what you are allowing, you are sitting down to calculate it. If I allow this and allow this, this is what will happen. I remember when my children were still very young that time. They're big now. And we had one computer, and they always want to play game on it. The one that is the elder, because she's about 4 years older than the second one, always wants to chance him. She can be on that computer playing for like 4 hours. Then the junior brother will come and say, Mommy, she's not letting me use the computer. This one, I say, this wahala of computer is getting too much. And I resolved in my mind, I'm going to go and buy a second computer. As I was thinking of it, the Holy Spirit just came. Well, rich man's wife. You want to buy a second computer because you can afford it. Yes. The easiest way for me to discard their trouble of coming to disturb me. But what would I have taught them? I would have taught them not to share. I would have taught them not to care about the feelings of each other. When God started listing those things to me, I repented in dust and ashes. I told them, I said, look here, I'm not buying any computer. When you use it for 2 hours, compulsively you must have feelings. Let your junior one use it for the next 2 hours. And that is what I want. But Mommy, you said, I said, no, I changed my mind. I don't have to justify it. A lot of us, we take the easy way out without knowing that we are already establishing selfishness. We are establishing wickedness. We are establishing all manner of things that when they now grow up, we'll be wondering, who put this into them? You did by your omission. When you omit to think about the long-term effect of what you are doing, then you pay the price. So I want you to always understand that the steps we take and what we allow, we are raising our children by so doing. The Bible says in Proverbs 29:17, You can just write the Bible verses down and check it later, because I don't really have the time. I want to deliver this message so that it comes complete. My time is fast spent and I still have a lot to say. Just bear with me. Proverbs 29:17 says, correct your son and he will give you rest. Yes, he will give delight to your soul. Correct your son and he will give you rest. When it means that there is one reward there, you will rest in old age when you correct them. And when you refuse to correct them, that time that you say, please, I beg, let them not disturb me, you will start that work you did not want to do in your old age. Then you will now go and be collecting them where? Trying to get them out of police station. Trying to get them out. No. Correct them when there is hope. That is what the Bible says. It says, where is that part? When there is hope. Anyway, there is a part that says, correct your children when there is hope. Look for it. You will find it. Proverbs 29:15 says, the rod of rebuke gives wisdom, but a child left to himself brings shame to his mother. 29:15. The rod of rebuke gives wisdom, but a child left to himself brings shame to his mother. Please, so why did they not mention father? Are you the only one that gave birth to the child? So it is for you to know that when the child, even the Bible approves it, that the child that is good is his father. I forgot to write that one. It's there. It's in Proverbs. The one that turns out bad is the mother. It's the mother. It's the mother. So everybody is going to blame you for how your child turns out. So why would you want to sleep on duty, for Christ's sake? I remember how my daughter used to accuse me. I know it's you. I know daddy wants to give us this, and I know it's you. I don't know what to do that for. Because you see, they cannot understand it. I cannot set the allowance that I give to my child by the wealth of my wealth of my husband. No, I go to the school and ask them, what is a child their age allowed? And I give them exactly what they need. That is what they need. Because if you give them more than what they need, you destroy them. You destroy them. A lot of people raise their children thinking that, because they are rich, those children must be spoiled with wealth. Yes, spoil them with wealth. When you finish spoiling them with wealth, just remember that there is a place for teaching a child how to make money. And if all you have taught them is how to enjoy it, the gap will be there when you leave. So, continue. 22, Proverbs 23:13-14 says, do not withhold correction from a child, for if you beat him with a rod, he will not die. You shall beat him with a rod and deliver his soul from hell. That is what the Bible says. Correct them and deliver their soul from hell. Proverbs 19:18 also says, chasten your son. It is Proverbs 19:18. Chasten your son while there is hope. It means there is a time within which you can change them. After that time, you have to live with it. And do not set your heart on his destruction. How do you set your heart on their destruction? When you really don't care. When you sleep on duty. When you fail to correct them when they can be corrected. That is when you are sleeping on duty. That is when you set their hope, you set their life on destruction. So it is very important for us to know that staying to raise our children, regardless of what the man is making you pass through, it has a reward. It has a reward. It has a reward, because when those children turn out very good, that is the day of your honor. That is when you begin to realize that, if I had not waited behind. You know, invest your time in your children. Invest sacrifice in your children. It is serious sacrifice to be able to live in a house with a man that you know is a terror. Just because you want to give your children a home and you want to teach them patience. Because you're not just giving them a home, you are teaching them endurance. You are teaching them patience. You are teaching them to be able to endure in the face of any boss, in the face of any persecution from boss, from anybody, not just husband. You are teaching them to be able to manage people. You would have taught them a lot of things by laying that example. I remember a lady that told me that her husband, you know, scaring strange women, does not put, when he buys things, he will take the greater part to the strange woman's house, leave them little, comes home when he likes, does not care about the children, and this one and that one. And she has decided that she's going to leave because her blood pressure is getting affected, her this one, that one. I said, have you tried praying for this man? Pray for him now. He said there's no prayer that he has not prayed. That the man, he even had that, maybe he even had that he has. I said, you know what? This man, that maybe they even said the man has a child outside that you have not confirmed though. But he does not even behave like a husband. This is what is passing you through and all that. I now said, okay, so your resolve to prove to the man that you are tired is to leave. Okay, when you leave, are you going to take the children? He said, he will not allow me to take the children, so I'm going to leave them. And you have 5 girls. Okay. I said, let me tell you just what you want to do. You just want to postpone the day of your sorrow. Because you are taking a temporary measure. Temporary relief to something that you're supposed to look for a lasting solution. I said, this man with the 5 children does not come home on time, does not care about them, and you think it is when you leave those children with him that he will now be a responsible father. I said, the devil wants your home, and you are offering it to him on a platter of gold. I said, you better look at these children, be praying for that man, and face your children. I said, because when these children turns out to be prostitutes, that peace that you thought you ran away because you want to have peace, you will see that you will not have peace. It will not, now the battle will change. It will not be your husband trouble you that time. It will now be your children. Who will you now abandon those ones in their hand? Will you abandon it? You leave them and say you don't know them again. You better stay with your children and just pray for your husband. God is the one that created him. And I know that there must be things that you are doing that you too need to change. So, what are the benefits of raising good children? Teach them the values of hard work. Teach them humility. Teach them sacrifice. Show them the way of God. So when you do all these things, you will see the result that will turn out. You will see how these children